All right, we're going to take notes on 8.1, which is talking about polynomials. Okay, so a polynomial they're classified by the number of terms in an expression. So they're just terms in an expression. Now remember, an expression is without the equal sign, so that's what that means. They have special names for each number of terms. So if you have one term, so one group of things, and terms are separated by plus or minus signs, okay? So if you have one term, that's called a monomial. And that makes sense because mono means one, okay? Two terms, it's considered a binomial. You know, like bicycle, two wheels, same thing. Three terms, you probably guessed it, it's a trinomial. And then after three terms, anything more than three, anything more than three is just referred to as a polynomial, okay? Because poly means many. Okay? Now, with these polynomials, each term also has a way of describing it with the degree. Okay, so we're going to talk about degree. The degree is the sum of the exponents of its variables. So you take your biggest degree in whichever term is the biggest. So we'll do some examples. So let's just say we have just the number 6, okay? There is no variables here. So they would not have any exponents because there's no variables. So this would have a 0 degree, or degree of 0, however you want to write that. Now let's say I had 6y. There is a variable here. Y has an exponent of 1, so this has a degree of 1. Okay, let's take another group of things. Let's say we had 4x squared y to the third. Okay, I take into account that whole term. The whole term is this entire thing because that's what's separated by plus or minus signs, or just a group of things. This would be a monomial because it's only one term, it's only one group of things. You have to add your exponents. So this would be 2 plus 3, which would give you 5. So this is a degree of 5. Now, there are special names for some degrees. If you have a degree of 3, the special name for that is called cubic. Okay? If you have a degree of 2, there's a special name for that one too. It's called quadratic. Okay, those are the ones that have the special names. Otherwise, you just say degree of 5, degree of 1, degree of 0, okay? But if you see these terms in like a quiz or something, you know where they're coming from. Now, the other part about 8.1 that you need to know is you can only add like terms. Now you guys have heard that before, that's not new to you, okay? So you have to have the exact same variables. Okay? You need exactly the same variables. So we'll do some examples. So the first example, we have 12p squared plus 8p squared. So are they exactly the same for variables? They're both p squared, so yes they are. So that does mean we can add them together. So what is 12 plus 8? Well, 12 plus 8 is 20. Now when you're adding these groups together, these terms together, you don't change the label here. I know a lot of you are going to want to do p to the fourth. No, it's just p squared. Do not change the label, okay? You're just adding 12 of some item plus 8 of another item. It's still that same item. That didn't change, okay? You have to think about it in terms like that. Let's do another one. We have x to the third minus 9x to the third. Are the variables the same? Yes, they are. They're both x to the thirds. You have to remember that there's this invisible one out here, okay? Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be written. So you have 1x to the third minus 9x to the third, which gives you a negative 8x to the third. Do not change your exponent with your variable, please. Okay, what if we have 7y minus 8x? They have to be exactly the same. This is a y and this is an x. Can we put those together? No, so that's already in simplified form. Okay, leave that alone. Okay, one quick other thing that you need to know. Standard form. Standard form writes the polynomial, so remember these are polynomials when we have a group of things, with the greatest degree first. Okay? The greatest degree first. So if you had, we'll do some examples when we get to our worksheet. Let's go over to our worksheet. So we're on 8-1. Those are your notes. We went through it just like I would do on the board. Let's go through number 1 real quick. Number 1 says find the degree, okay? Remember, degree was that second part of our notes. So you have to look back at your notes and say, what was degree? Degree is the sum of the exponents of its variables. Okay, well, these are all monomials, so they only have one term. You have to add your exponents. So this one would be 2 plus 2, which would be a degree of 4. Okay? Degree of 4. And that's your answer. You're done. This one has an exponent of 1. This is a degree of 1. Okay? Now, let's move on to 15. It says write each polynomial in standard form. Remember, that was the thing I just talked about at the very, very end of our notes. Standard form writes the highest exponent first. So this one has an exponent of 1, an exponent of 3, and this one doesn't even have an exponent because it doesn't have a variable, right? The 3 technically does, but there's no variable, so that doesn't help because we need the highest degree first. So this would be your first term, so we have to put that negative x to the third. Please don't forget that it is negative. Then your next highest degree would be the 15x, so plus 15x plus 3. Now I can't combine any of these terms because they're not exactly the same. I don't have another x to the third, so I can't put them together. Okay, so that's standard form. Done with that part. Then name each polynomial based on its degree and its number of terms. So you got to go back to your notes and you got to look. Okay, degree, remember that's the sum of the exponents of the highest one. Okay, so you always look at the highest one. After you already have it in standard form, you can just look at that first one. What degree is that? That's a degree of 3. Now remember, degree of 3, I would never count it wrong if you said degree of 3, but you're going to see stuff differently on quizzes. Has a special name. It's called cubic. So this is a cubic. Now we have to decide how many terms this has. They're separated by plus or minus signs. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. 3 terms. Go ahead and take a look. 3 terms is called a trinomial. So this is a cubic trinomial. And then that's how you do those types of problems. So if you looked at 16 already, you see the 5x minus x can be combined. We have to do that, okay? You need to write it in standard form. Which one has the highest degree? That 3x to the fourth. So the 3x to the fourth plus 2x squared. Now I'm going to combine those two terms because I can. 5x minus x is 4x. Okay, that's standard form. Now, what degree is it? Degree of 4. Does degree of 4 have a special term? Nope. Degree of 4. And how many terms? 1, 2, 3 terms. So this is a trinomial also. Okay. Now if you turn to the back side, otherwise known as your second sheet, when you're combining like terms here, this is a negative outside of there. You need to distribute that -1 first and then add down. That's the easiest way to do it. So this would become a -5n minus 2. Now squiggle that out so you don't get confused. Add down. What's 11n minus 5n? Think about it. 6n, okay? What's a -2 plus a -4 plus a -2? A -6. That's combining the like terms, okay? That's all you're doing on this, is combining like terms. Let me know if you have any questions.